What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dash, come back to Real Takes. Well, it's that time, guys. It's movie review time, and this is for Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. First off, before I jump into it, this will be spoiler-free. I feel it is a disservice. I do not want to take it away from anybody to enjoy just the epicness of this film. I truly enjoyed this film. So, again, won't be spoiling anything. Rather you guys go see it. You know, maybe a week later y'all want to like really chime in the comment section. We can kind of go back and forth, but I probably most likely will not be doing a spoiler review. I'm just going to just keep it to this. So with that said, just going to kind of jump into it. Now with this one, I will say when we heard the news of Chadwick Boseman's passing, I know it went shockwaves because, of course, he's a very private person. We had no idea. Even the people as close to him, you know, in regards to friends and people, work colleagues, on had no idea. So knowing that Ryan Coogler might have already started working on the script, things had to be changed up. So I was curious as to where they were going to eventually go. I've always stated I did not read the comics, so I know down the pike of the comics a little bit. The fact that I think inline Shuri, most like his character, would, you know, take on the helm of the Black Panther. So I figured in that area we would definitely see her, you know, kind of more at the forefront. Also with the fact of who would be possibly a villain in this film, wasn't sure. Then hearing, you know, over time, the last year and a half, 2 years ago when I was doing a little bit of my movie news, I had talked about a character Namor being brought up, and I was kind of excited because, again, enough well versed in comic land. So it was exciting to me when I found out who was actually going to be starring. I'm going to say his name is Tenoch Huerta. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. My apologies if not. I saw a little bit of the comics, kind of reading a little bit up on it and seeing him, and I said he looked like he'd probably be a great fit. He looked, you know, overall, you know, aesthetic. So that got me excited. Of course, other, you know, original cast coming back. So I was pretty just beyond down for it. Of course, when we started seeing the trailer, them always doing more little snippets and little. I stayed away from those. I just did the two trailers, and that was it. So just to know that we did have something coming, I was excited for it. So from that being said, my whole take on the film is this. The thing I get from this is family, I get grief, revenge, and legacy. Those four is the themes I kind of pick up from this film. Now, with that being said, the way this film opens up, it definitely opens up with an emotional banker for me. Not too far off being from the trailer. Clearly we know they're setting it up where you're dealing with the fact that now T'Challa is no longer here. So you see in the trailer, of course, it's like they're having, you know, a ceremony, burial ceremony in regards to T'Challa, and beautifully done. And I can't say that I did not lose it a little bit. Definitely had to have some tissues, but just very well done. The tributes that they do throughout the film to him were done so beautifully. Yes, because that character, he really embodied him. So I'm very forever grateful, which we are in Nukulu would definitely show that love, you know, to a fellow, you know, friend, colleague, worker, just to give that. But with that being said, that brings Shuri to the forefront. So we're definitely getting a little bit of Shuri's arc throughout this film. And I like how, with that being said, her stepping up, certain things start to, of course, you know, take place. We're dealing with one part of this film, which is a very central part in this particular wording, I'm going to say, definitely brings a lot of these things with Wakanda and other aspects to the forefront, and that's the vibranium. Now, with that being said, we do get a scene in here where there's something going on, and it pretty much brings a person to the surface. And we get to see the world building now because we're getting introduced to a character named Namor, played by, like I stated, Tenoch Huerta. And with that, I love that we get a backstory that goes back, you know, dating, I think we want to say 16th century. You know, his abilities, how he comes up with, you know, his name, all that. I really enjoy seeing him. His, you know, action sequences he did within the film were so good. I really liked it, you know. I really was curious with his character when you see him interact with Shuri. What is his motivation, you know? And it definitely centers around the situation pertaining to vibranium. We do see in the trailer another character, because I remember seeing a couple other people's reactions where there was like, oh, you know, what is it? Ironheart. And it's played by a character, her name, you know, in the movie besides that is Riri, played by, I want to say, is it Dominique Thorne. And I really enjoyed her character. She was at times very comedic, but definitely on the side of being, you know, very well-versed scientist. And the things that she did that culminates, in regards to this instance, play a part in why this, vibranium is definitely integral in what, the situation with Neymar coming to the forefront and wanting to deal with the situation with, Shuri, Queen Ramonda, all that. Now with the Queen, she's at the forefront, of course, now that her son is gone, and dealing with certain individuals outside of Wakanda, wanting to understand, okay, now what's going on. He's not alone, so they're trying to find a way to insert themselves a little bit more, wondering if they can work alongside Wakanda, and the necessity of certain things, pertaining to vibranium. And a lot of them show their tail, the way they go about doing certain things which are not good, hence how, the Dora Milaje has to intervene. But yes, also with that being said, I like the scenes that happen between, like I stated, with Shuri and Namor, and certain things coming to full where they're trying to discuss how they can handle certain situations within their cultures, with their people, and trying to come to an understanding. And certain things in the communication, kind of get, crossways, and then certain things start to happen within the film that sets up a tone where one side, wants to just be done with certain things, and the other one's trying to work, and it's just kind of like at that moment things are just not going to go the way we think. And it's unfortunate. There's a lot of certain scenes that are just, really sad within the film. This film's 3 hours, so it's a lot going on. Some people might think, certain parts could have been cut down a little bit because it was about 3 hours. I don't mind a little bit of filler, especially if you kind of, telling up with the story, you giving us enough understanding of what's going on. And I kind of didn't mind the flow of it. I'm not here to just have all this action here and there all the time throughout the film. I want to get a little bit more of understanding of what's happening with the actual characters, what's going on. Definitely seeing, there's a really strong scene with Queen Ramonda and Okoye, where certain events happen, and she having just literally goes off, and it was really a powerful scene. I love me some Angela Bassett. She really brings her A game every time. M'Baku definitely at the forefront. I love how he tries to be a voice of wisdom to Shuri in certain instances within the film when certain things do come awry, and making a little statement about his, I won't say close to the friendship a little bit with T'Challa, and them having certain words that, centered around her, not to give too much away in that instance. But I like that. So that lets he really, at first, from the first movie, you see how he felt wanting to be, in charge of this, but it's come a long way, and opening up himself to, working alongside, Shuri and Queen, and, his banter at times was just hysterical, especially between him and Okoye. Okoye doing her thing, always trying to protect Shuri and doing things when they're trying to go and handle business. And you see definitely Everett Ross is back, I like the scenes with him because you always calling him Everett, a colonizer. Just so funny. There was one scene that was just hysterical towards the end of the film, but I just like how in the end, like, Nakia comes back. I like seeing her. Certain scenes in regards to T'Challa's passing and certain individuals not being there for, I'll just say memorial part, and then, confronting those people as to why, and just being certain feelings. Everybody deals with grief differently. So I like how that was addressed as well. I do like how there was some other actual faces that were added to the fold. There's a character Anika, played by Michaela Cole. I was happy to see she joined. I want to say the Dora Milaje as well. Love seeing her. I just say overall, the way they flesh out the story, Shuri, coming to terms with the decision making she has to do, with certain things happening with her brother, dealing, with some stuff happening, with her family, the dynamic with her mother, having to really stand up and rise above, and then figure out what she needs to do with answers. There's certain parts where she is really trying to figure out how to go about dealing with something, and there's surprise moment where she is kind of having a situation where she's making a decision or trying to get some sort of guidance, and it's coming from an unlikely source, which I thought was really interesting. But it was nice to see this person pop up, and her not sure she wants to take that advice, but then in the end still kind of listening to them, but then kind of coming with what works best for her and how she is. She can truly make this decision. She knows exactly what needs to be done. She doesn't really need this individual or others, just having another, ear probably, but in the end, she knows what needs to be done and what's the right thing to do when dealing with, in this instance, when I'm talking about is Namor's character. Again, action sequences were really good. Of course, seeing all technology. I mean, I can't say enough about like the visuals, the production, the costumes throughout, the music, the scores. I mean, Coogler, he definitely takes pride in his work that he puts out with every film he does, and this was no different. I really can't say enough about how much I truly did enjoy this film. I know this is the last one in Phase 4, if I'm not mistaken, so we are getting ready to jump into Phase 5. I don't know if some people probably were wanting certain things to be addressed to kind of go into what's going to happen going to Phase 5. I really wasn't looking for all of that. I just wanted to see how they were going to tackle with how to deal with the storyline, being that now T'Challa's gone. What's happening. Shuri has to step up to the plate, of course, dealing with the family, the legacy, what needs to be handled. Okay, who is the, going to be, the villain is going to, interact with them and, cause certain things so where they can, build, on Wakanda. But yes, the way everything was done with this one, I really truly did enjoy this film. I'm really having to bite my tongue. There's certain things I really want to say that I can't, that will probably give too much away, but I will say it like stated before, seeing some familiar faces from the first one, Nakia coming back, and how integral she is in her part coming back, of course being of service and help to Queen Ramonda, then also being able to speak to Shuri, discuss certain things, and bring stuff to the forefront for her that she wasn't really aware of. That was good. Definitely, as they say with Marvel, you just can't just get up and leave. It's definitely a scene that's very significant and very integral in this film that I was so happy to see. It was such a beautiful moment. I did enjoy that. I will say, in regards to the part with grief and all that, I liked how I stated early on how certain people deal with grief differently, and Shuri at times really could not really deal with it. She definitely was angry. You see her having a conversation with her mother that was kind of brought back, to kind of use against her. She makes certain statements and all that, but towards the end, there's a certain part of the ritual they do after, I think they said like a year, where they grieve and they kind of do something with her. I'm gonna speak on that because I don't feel like I'm giving too much of a lot of stuff that happens in the film, but it was really interesting watching her have that moment, and what that moment Ryan did, what Ryan does in the film. So if you know what I mean by that, I'll just say it like that. But it was a scene that needed to happen, and like I stated before, another emotional banger for you. We definitely get a couple of them in the film where you can't escape it. It's like I was with a friend and she was just like, oh my god, they're going to keep doing this to us throughout this film. It's just like it needed to be done. So everyone who, besides the cast and all that, who were close to Chadwick, all of us who have enjoyed and loved Chadwick in his films, and of course in this particular one playing Black Panther, it needs to be done so we could have that moment. So yes, again, I love this film. Out of a 10, I'm gonna give it a 9. I will say probably a teeny bit, maybe a little bit long, but overall I really did enjoy this one. I loved it with the way it was centered story wise. Definitely, like I stated with Shuri, her arc and opening up whatever, where they can continue and establish Wakanda, and also moving, as they say, Black Panther, forward. And just like I stated also with Namor's character, I tell you, Tenoch Huerta did the damn thing in here playing them. I'm not sure how his overall character is in the comics. I don't know how much was so much towards done more in accuracy. Somebody in my comment section might let me know, and I'm fine with that. But from what I'm gathering from this, I really enjoyed what they gave us with him being very, compassionate about his people, with this, underworld, water world, seeing how he felt about this, getting the backstory of how he came to be, in regards to his situation, his abilities and all that, just really fleshed out, really good the way they did that. So yes, that scene, and like I stated before, all the other cast, some of the memorable cast coming back in, a couple of new faces, just so good. So with that said, you guys, comment below. I would love to know what you all think of the film, and with that said, I will see you guys in the next movie review. You guys take care.